Welcome to the Wanderers History Podcast and to a new episode of the mini-series looking at some of the most important Doges in 16th century Venetian history, part of the wider Rulers and Monarchs of the 16th century Mediterranean series. Before we continue, if you like this video by the end, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help a lot and I'd be very grateful for that. Let us resume. Last episode we talked about Alvise Mocenigo, Doge of Venice between 1570 and 1577. His dogeship defined by the Fourth Ottoman-Venetian War of Cyprus, which led to Venice losing Cyprus even after the Holy League victory at Lepanto in 1571. This brings us to Sebastiano Venier, who was born in 1496, and he was known for his imposing physique, determination, stature, and military ability, but also for having a very violent temper. He would hold many positions of government within the Venetian Republic. He was administrator within the government. He was governor of Candia, that was the Venetian name for the island of Crete, where he remained until the 11th of January 1551. Later on, like his predecessors that we talked about, Zane and Barbarigo, he had a few stints in positions of governance of the Venetian terraferma, the terraferma being Venetian possessions in the Italian peninsula, but he also held positions in the Mediterranean Commonwealth. Thus we would see Veniero as captain of Brescia in 1561, podesta in Verona between 1566 and 1568. In 1570 he became the first procurator of San Marco, and then in March, administrator of Corfu. On June 17th, he would be given the position of administrator of Cyprus, and later on the December 13th, he would become captain general of the Venetian fleet that was engaged at the time against the Ottoman Empire. At the Battle of Lepanto, he would be part of the main contingent of the Holy League forces with Don John of Austria and Marcantonio Colonna, but infamously was in very bad relations with John and the Spanish, requiring the drastic mediation of Colonna, as previously discussed in the previous episode. Colonna was dedicated to the Holy League and to the Venetian cause of saving Cyprus. Nevertheless, despite all of these turbulences, he fought valiantly on the Venetian flagship called the Capitana. This was located to the left of Don John's La Real, which was in a direct confrontation with the main Ottoman contingent. We would see Veniero working with a heavy crossbow reloaded by an aide. His diligence was essential for the Holy League victory. It is important to remember that by this point he was 75 years of age, and during the battle he got injured in the foot by an arrow. As we talked about in the previous episodes, the Battle of Lepanto was a remarkable win for the Holy League. However, the momentum had been wasted in the aftermath. There were Greek rebellions expected in Rumelia, that being the continental European bit of the Ottoman Empire, and these rebellions did not take place. They were meant to destabilize the Ottoman forces, but Cyprus had been conquered, including Famagusta. Cyprus was lost, and the Venetians had to agree to very disadvantageous peace terms with the Ottomans. Sebastiano Venier, because of the remarkable result of the Holy League at Lepanto, would return to Venice with an aura of victory, resulting in his unanimous election as Doge of the Republic of Venice on the 11th of June 1577. He would be a victor at Lepanto, an 87th Doge of the Republic of Venice, although his Dogeship lasted less than a year until March the 3rd, 1578. In the end, obviously, Sebastiano Venier played a much bigger role while being actively involved in various military positions and affairs, and one can think of him becoming Doge for a very brief period of time as a token of gratitude from the Venetian establishment and Republic. There was not much Veniero could do between 1577 and 1578. The Spanish were moving closely towards the pacification in the Mediterranean with the Ottomans, which eventually came to fruition in 1581. Relations between the Venetians and Ottomans were restabilized, and the Republic was undergoing its usual economic recovery after ending its conflict with the Porte in 1573. Nevertheless, Sebastiano Venier remains one of the most important figures in 16th century Venetian history. He was succeeded by Niccolo da Ponte in 1578, whose dogeship and history we will discuss in the next episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Wanderer's History Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Please consider subscribing if you haven't done so already, or even a like as well. And until the next time, all the best.